So where do these ideas come from? People ask me quite a bit. And the truth is, they can come from just about anywhere. Sometimes I'll remember a place I've actually been. Sometimes I'll hear a sound like a creak, a train whistle, or a thunderstorm, and I start imagining what it would be like to spend the night there. Other times it starts with a simple question. What would it feel like to spend the night inside a historic mountain lodge library? Or maybe a quiet covered bridge, caretaker's cottage, or a fire lookout high above the mountains, a lonely ranger station, even one of those research stations we built over the last month. Every one of those places starts as a simple idea. But here's something that's become really important to me. I'm not just trying to make a pretty picture. There are millions of pretty pictures on the internet. What I'm really trying to create is a destination, a place where someone can imagine themselves spending the night, somewhere they can leave behind the stress of the day for a little while. When I look at one of these finished scenes, I actually ask myself, would I want to be there? If the answer is yes, then maybe someone else will too. And I think that's the difference. I'm not trying to impress people with fancy artwork. I'm trying to invite them into a peaceful place they'd like to visit. So once I have an idea, the next thing I try to do is stop thinking like a creator and start thinking like a viewer. That's actually harder than it sounds. As creators, we're naturally excited about making something interesting. Maybe it's a beautiful building. Maybe it's an unusual location. Maybe it's something nobody else has ever thought of. And there's nothing wrong with that. But over time, I started asking myself a different question. Not what do I want to create? Instead, where would someone genuinely enjoy spending 12 peaceful hours? That one question changed the way I design almost every scene. If someone is trying to relax or fall asleep, or simply unwind after a long day, they're not looking for a picture. They're looking for a feeling. They're looking for a place that feels safe, comfortable, warm, quiet, somewhere they can mentally step into for a little while. That's why you'll notice so many of my scenes include things like warm lighting, comfortable chairs, beds, lanterns, fireplaces, large windows looking out across mountains or rivers. Those details aren't just decorations. They're part of creating an experience. Take the historic Mountain Lodge Library, for example. I could have made a beautiful room filled with books, but that's not what I was really trying to build. I wanted it to feel like the kind of place where you could curl up in a comfortable chair, listen to the fire, look out across the mountains, and completely forget about the outside world for a while. That's a destination. And I think that becomes one of the guiding ideas behind Brian's brain. Every time I begin designing a new location, I try to imagine myself walking through the front door. I look around, I imagine what it would sound like. I imagine sitting there. Would I stay? Would I spend the night there? If the answer is yes, then maybe someone watching will feel exactly the same way. So once I know the kind of place I want to create, the next question becomes, what makes people feel comfortable? Now, everyone is a little different. Some people love the mountains. Others would rather be beside a quiet river, or listening to rain, or sitting next to a warm fireplace. But I've noticed something. There are certain things that almost everyone seems to respond to: warm light, soft shadows, comfortable furniture, good chair. a cozy bed, a blanket folded over the arm of the sofa, books sitting open on a table, lanterns glowing softly, large windows looking out into nature. Those little details tell a story. They make a place feel lived in. They make it feel welcoming. And I think that's important because when someone clicks on one of these videos, I don't want them to feel like they're looking at computer artwork. I want them to feel like they're just stepped into a real place. Sometimes I'll even stop and imagine myself walking through the room. Where would I sit? What would I hear? Would I walk over to the window and look outside? Would I put another log on the fire? Would I pour a cup of coffee? Or just sit there quietly and listen to the creek? Those little questions help shape almost every scene I build. Sometimes people ask me, why do you always have such big windows? Well, the windows aren't really about the windows. They're about bringing the outside world into the room. The mountains become part of the room. The river becomes part of the room. The snowfall, the rain, the moonlight, they're all invited inside. And that's really what I'm trying to create. Not just a room, but a place where the inside and the outside feel connected. Because when that happens, the whole scene starts to feel peaceful. So now that we've designed a place, let's talk about the sounds. To me, the sound is every bit as important as the picture. You can have the most beautiful image in the world, but if the sound doesn't feel real, the illusion disappears pretty quickly. That's one of the reasons I've started recording more and more of my own ambient sounds. Instead of relying entirely on sound libraries, I like going outside and recording the real thing whenever I can. Sometimes it's a quiet creek. Sometimes it's a passing thunderstorm. Sometimes it's wind moving through the trees. I've even spent early mornings recording distant trains because those are the sounds I actually hear where I live. And here's something I've learned. Nature is never perfectly still. The wind changes, the water changes, birds come and go. Sometimes you'll hear a distant airplane or a train or even a helicopter passing far away. Those aren't mistakes. They're part of the place. When I'm editing my recordings, I usually remove little distractions, tiny microphone pops, or something that obviously doesn't belong. But I try very hard not to remove the personality of the recording because those little changes, the ones that happen naturally, are what convince your brain that you're listening to a real place. That's what I'm trying to create, not perfect silence, real peace. And I think there's a difference. One of my favorite recordings was made beside a quiet Montana creek. There was gentle wind in the trees, the water flowing over the rocks, and much later a distant helicopter slowly passed through the valley. I left it in because that's exactly what happened that morning. It became part of the story of that place. I think those little moments help make these environments feel authentic. They're not just sound effects, they're memories. So now we have our location, we have our lighting, we have our sounds. Now it's time to bring everything to life. One of the biggest changes I've made over the past several months has been changing the way I think about movement. When I first started making these videos, I was mostly creating beautiful pictures, and there's nothing wrong with that. But after a while, I realized something. People aren't really looking at pictures. They're spending 12 hours inside it. That completely changed the way I built my scenes. Instead of asking, how can I make this image look impressive? I started asking, How can I make someone feel like they're quietly exploring this place? That's where the Journey Panorama idea came from. Instead of jumping from one scene to another, the camera moves very slowly, almost like someone is peacefully walking through the room or slowly looking around. Sometimes it takes several minutes just to move from one side of the image to the other. There's no hurry, nothing demanding your attention, just a quiet journey. And in many of my newer videos, the camera eventually dissolves into a second view of the very same place, not a different building, not another location, the same room, seen from another angle, almost as though you've quietly stood up, walked across the room, and sat down somewhere else. To me, that feels much more natural. It lets the viewer stay in one peaceful place instead of constantly starting over. When I design these panoramas, I'm always thinking about the movement. What will someone discover next? Maybe it's a fireplace. Maybe it's a window looking out across the mountains. Maybe it's a covered bridge or a quiet river. The movement becomes part of the storytelling, and that's really what I'm trying to create. Not a slideshow, not a collection of pictures, but the feeling of spending the night in a place you'd never want to leave. So before we wrap up, I'd like to share one more thought. When I first started making these videos, like most people, I spent a lot of time looking at the numbers, views, subscribers, watch hours, revenue. It's easy to do. We all want to know if what we're creating is reaching people. But over time, I found that constantly watching the numbers doesn't really help me make better videos. What helps is making the next one. Every video teaches me something. Maybe a thumbnail works a little better. Maybe a new location really connects with people. Maybe a different sound recording feels more natural. Every project is another chance to learn. And one thing I've discovered is that these videos don't all grow at the same speed. Some begin slowly, then months later, people start finding them. Others take right off, right away. There's really no way to predict exactly what will happen. So instead of chasing one viral video, I've tried to focus on building a library of peaceful places. Because every new upload gives someone another doorway to discover the channel. Maybe they come for a mountain cabin. Maybe they find the fire lookout. Maybe it's a quiet library, or a covered bridge, or a creek in Montana. It doesn't really matter which one brings them here. What matters is that when they arrive, they find a place where they can relax. And if they enjoy it, maybe they'll come back tomorrow night, or next week, or next month. To me, that's what I'm really building. Not just a collection of videos, but a collection of places people can return to whenever they need a little peace. And honestly, that's a pretty wonderful project to be part of. In the next episode, we'll start putting these ideas into practice as we begin creating one of these peaceful places from the ground up. Thanks for spending a little time with me today, and until next time, take care. I'll leave you with a short excerpt from one of my original pieces. This is called Kim Dearly. Thanks for spending a little time with me today.